Before we get into the episode, I want to say our hearts are broken for everyone affected by the LA fires. LA is an amazing city filled with strong, hardworking, and caring people, and if you would like to help, we've linked to organizations supporting relief efforts in the notes below.
3, 2, 1, action.
They should just let me be.
Let you be what?
Whatever it is they don't want me to be.
We are here encountering the vampire, Nosferatu.
Show me who you are.
Are you threatening me?
Pretty girls should always smile.
What a wonderful day!
The question is, do you have it in you to make it epic?
Take him now.
That's how I got so far.
Good start.
2024 gave us plenty of cinematic gems, and as always, Josh and I have collected our list of 20 favorites from 2024. I know the title says best, but I don't think there is a best when talking about art and entertainment. It's all incredibly subjective, based entirely on your taste and experiences. So as we do every year, we have a list of our personal favorites in no particular order, and of course, there are some films that we didn't get a chance to see that seem like they would end up on this list, like The Brutalist. And we have a full list of those films in the notes below. Directed by James Mangold, A Complete Unknown is the story of Bob Dylan during his most transformative years in the 60s. It's a musical biopic in a form and structure that you will recognize, but maybe the best version that I've seen. And though it's about the events that took place in the 60s, it feels very timely today. The cinematography is gorgeous and the performances are fantastic, especially Chalamet's portrayal of Dylan, which there's no doubt he'll be nominated for. Next up is Love Lies Bleeding, directed by Rose Glass, who before this directed Saint Maud, which I also loved. This one is a crime thriller from A24 set in the 80s, and I don't think I need to say any more than that. One of the more unique films that lived in my mind rent-free for a while was Late Night with the Devil, directed by Colin and Cameron Carnes, set during a Halloween broadcast in 1977 where a talk show host attempts to interview a possessed girl live on air. I really dug the structure of this and how they played with the on-air and backstage elements of the story. I was bummed that this film got pushed aside a bit due to the backlash around the filmmakers using AI to create some of the title cards in the film, which I do agree wasn't the best choice, but it shouldn't stop you from seeing this very interesting film.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stay tuned for a live television first as we attempt to commune with the devil.
Moving on to another horror film with The First Omen, which is a prequel to The Omen, directed by first-time feature director Arkasha Stevenson. And honestly, it's incredible that this was her first film. It's a big, bold swing for a studio horror film, beautifully shot and staged, and genuinely scary. If horror's your thing, do not miss this one.
You don't have to be afraid. This child is his way.
I'm a big fan of Alex Garland, and Civil War did not disappoint. It's a disturbing look at something that just 10 years ago seemed impossible but feels within reach today. What I loved most about how Garland handled the story is he didn't pick a side, but looked at the division that could drive us here. And it's about more than what it seems in the trailer, and a must-watch in my book.
Well, you're American, okay? Okay. What kind of American are you?
Shifting to horror that's more on the fun side, Alien Romulus, while not perfect, was insanely fun. Director Fede Alvarez loaded it with tense, fast-paced, and excellently constructed sequences. It's a ride of a film with some of the best uses of facehuggers yet. Anora is a bold, heartfelt, and very rated-R modern Cinderella story of sorts from director Sean Baker. Baker brings his usual gritty authenticity to this one, with his best decision being the casting of Mikey Madison. If you dug any of Baker's previous films, definitely give this one a go. Didi is one of the best coming-of-age coming-of-age stories in a long time. Sean Wang perfectly captured what it was like growing up in the early 2000s, which were definitely Josh's formative years and a lot of mine as well. It's heartfelt and funny with incredibly naturalistic performances, so much so that you forget you're watching a movie at times. If you were born in the early 90s especially, this is a must-watch. Directed by another first-time feature director, Greg Jardin, It's What's Inside was not at all what I was expecting in the best kind of way. The film was shot for $2.5 million and sold out of Sundance to Netflix for $17 million. It's fast, fun, and clever in so many ways. If you don't know anything about it right now, don't watch a trailer, just go in blind.
Wow. Yeah. Trippy.
We have a bunch more films to get to, but first let's take a look at this new mic from today's partner, Hollyland. This is the new Lark M2S from Hollyland. This tiny little guy has great quality, solid noise cancellation, 984-foot range, 24-hour battery life, and a great mounting method. You have the body back here and the mic as the smaller side, and in this shape, the mic itself is the clip, which allows it to be lighter and one of the more discreet mics I've used. We have the USB-C version here, so I'll connect straight to my phone, which even if you have the combo or the mini combo kits that allow you to connect to your camera, you're still going to want to connect to the app to set up your preferences like channel mode, volume, and noise cancellation level. Once you set your noise cancellation level, you can turn the noise cancellation on or off by tapping this button on the mic, which I'll keep off since I'd rather do that in post. But with it all set up, we have a great sounding mic. This one is 48K and 24-bit, and like I said, great range. And second. Almost there. A windscreen that we can pop on and off, of course. But it really does sound great. Right now, you're hearing the mic with no post-processing at all, just straight out of the camera. Then with all my processing thrown on, like compressor, EQ, noise cancellation, and so on, and it's sounding really solid. And again, I do love how this mounts. You can barely see it, and even when you do, it looks good. So if you're looking for a new small wireless mic, I am loving this one, and you can learn more at store.hollyland.com. We have a link for you below as well.
Dad used to say that childhood was like being drunk. Everyone remembers what you did, except you.
Moving into a few animated films, starting with Adam Elliott's Memoir of a Snail, which is a beautifully strange stop-motion film that's equally heartbreaking and darkly funny. The film is rated R and doesn't really hold back, leading to a very honest exploration of grief, loneliness, and resilience. The Wild Robot is a beautifully told story of Roz, a robot stranded on a remote island that finds purpose after becoming the adopted mother of a baby goose. It has a solid voice cast, and its authentic themes of parenting had me teary-eyed quite a few times. Admittedly, I have a pretty big soft spot for Inside Out, with the original being released the same year that my first kid was born and her loving the film her entire life. So the second had pretty big shoes to fill for me, and it didn't disappoint. With this one, the filmmakers introduced new emotions into the mix, diving more into the complexity around the difficulties of growing up and learning what all these feelings are. And for me, these are brilliantly made in a way that really help kids understand what they're feeling and why. It made almost $1.7 billion at the box office, surpassing Frozen 2 to become the highest grossing animated film of all time. Flow is easily my favorite animated film of the year and just painfully beautiful to look at. It feels almost like you're watching a gorgeous 85-minute long indie game cutscene. There isn't a single line of dialogue throughout the entire film either, yet it's tense, funny, and as I said on Letterboxd, a deeply human story without a single human in frame. Moving away from animated, but staying indie, we have Richard Linklater's latest with Hitman. It's a sharp, darkly comedic film about a philosophy professor turned undercover hitman for the New Orleans police. And it's as entertaining as that sounds. The film stars Glenn Powell, who also co-wrote the film with Linklater and delivers the best performance of his career so far.
I'm sorry, what happened?
Oh Lord, please don't let me be misunderstood.
Speaking of performances, holy shit. Pun intended. Conclave is filled with incredible performances, most notably from Ralph Fiennes, who will likely receive a nomination for this as well. The film was directed by Edward Berger, whose last film, All Quiet on the Western Front, landed on our Best of 2022 list. But Conclave is incredibly compelling and the type of film that feels like you're watching a stage play, which I love. Justin Kurzel's The Order is an intense thriller based on the true story of an FBI agent's pursuit of a white supremacist group in the 1980s. Jude Law and Nicholas Hoult are great, the cinematography is really killer, it's just an all-around solidly tense and thought-provoking film. Jason Reitman's Saturday Night offers a frenetic behind-the-scenes glimpse into the chaos leading up to the inaugural episode of Saturday Night Live in 1975. The film starts and doesn't stop moving. The pace catapults you forward, mixing in a litany of characters while never leaving you feeling lost. It's also very funny, which, I mean, a film about SNL should be.
Am I still in the show? Jesus Christ. Sorry, tripped over my penis.
Wicked Little Letters was a big surprise for me. I watched it thanks to a recommendation and absolutely loved it. It really is a delightful and funny film about a stream of anonymous obscene letters plaguing a small seaside town of Littlehampton in the 1920s. The absolute best thing about this film is its cast though. There's not a single weak link among them, with Olivia Colman and Jessie Buckley absolutely crushing every moment they're on screen. It's also the type of film where you're left smiling from start to finish. So if you're looking for a pick-me-up, here you go.
Nobody swears like that. What would you say? You look like Queen Victoria shoved up her. You daft old.
Moving into my top 2 films of the year, we have Dune Part 2, of course, directed by easily one of the greatest current filmmakers, Denis Villeneuve. The scope and scale of this film is absolutely bonkers. It's one of those films that leave you thinking, where do you even begin to make something this massive? The sound is just eroticism for your ears, and the cinematography demands you call it daddy. Genuinely, Denis Villeneuve defies logic. He's like talent incarnate. The man is a beast. I like the film, is what I'm saying.
May thy knife chip and shatter.
For our final film, and my absolute favorite of the year, we have the hauntingly gorgeous Nosferatu. Robert Eggers was already on the top of my list of current filmmakers, and this cemented that fact. Like I said on Letterboxd, Eggers always brings a mix of modern and old Hollywood magic that feels timeless, and this one does that in spades. The visuals are mouth-wateringly beautiful, with phenomenal atmosphere and pace. The horror is delivered elegantly, which elevates the dread throughout, and Bill Skarsgård as Count Orlok is the most transformative performance I've ever seen. People love saying the unrecognizable performance thing, but this time that is genuinely true. If you haven't seen it, do that now, then do it again right after. But there you have it, our 20 favorites of 2024. I know there's several that people will be unhappy to see left off the list, so let us know below what your favorites are of last year. Links below to everything as well, including the Lark M2S, the films we haven't seen, and mine and Josh's Letterboxd accounts if that's your thing. And until next time, don't forget to write, shoot, edit, repeat.
Take it now.
I'll see you later. Ta-ta.